Alrighty, welcome back to another video. It's been a while since I did anything other than a war video. But the April 2024 balance update has just dropped into the servers. I'm not sure whether it's fully live yet. I think they want to wait until everybody has updated to the latest version before they apply all the balance updates that are happening this month. And you can see from the poster here, there's buffs to the Astral Elves, buff to Challenge Festival 1 costumes and heroes, buffs to Clash of Knights heroes, adjustments to Daroga, and buffs to 6 of the April Hero of the Months, which I assume would be the Hero of the Months dating back to 2023, 22, 21, 2019, and 18. So we're going to have a look at that later. So this balance update will go live April 8, 2024 at so there's kind of an issue happening, and that's why they are not updating it just yet. So this time around, our balancing tool of choice is passive skills. Rather than making any major changes to hero stats and special skills, we are hoping some targeted adjustments or substitution of their passive skills will freshen up your heroes and make them worth another look. Okay, sure. Once the word got out that we were tuning up passives, all sorts of heroes started coming out of the woodwork. This month we've got Astral Elves who now can't miss, Wonderland costumes that unlock a whole new passive skill, and another new passive for some slow mana heroes from Clash of Knights. This update also includes a fix for the Opera hero Daroga, whose passive skill did not match their mana speed, and of course some bumps for previous April Hero of the Months. So here are some summaries. Okay, so now Astral Elves, these are the new, I think the new portal that just opened up for players to pull from. It's undergone 2 rotations so far, and the heroes include, you know, the Star Walker, Sparklight from the previous I think Black Friday summons, and then they have some new heroes like Dreadstar, Lemonwood. Okay, for some reason my mind just keeps going back to some Morningwood thingy, but it's not. But apparently he's not the one that's being adjusted right now. So those are the new Astral Elves, pretty new into the servers. I don't think they deserve a buff just because of how new and how strong their stats are. But let's just see what they have changed. So now the passive skill has changed from Resist Blind to Resist Poison, and this affects all Astral Elf heroes. So even the ones that are coming out soon, those will resist poison now instead of resist blind. Now, how does this impact to me? I always thought the resist blind was such an amazing passive to have, especially when you think about it. There's all these goblins that whenever they cast their special skills, they give a chance to give negative 25% accuracy, and you know, these Astral Elves will not get affected by it. Another hero that comes into mind is Christine Day. When you use Christine Day's special skill on these Astral Elves, the dance does not proc because the dance is part of the ailment that results in negative accuracy. And what I mean by it, it's the way the wording was being placed. So now let's just look back at one of the Astral Elves. Now I don't have an Astral Elf, but I do believe some of my members should have an Astral Elf. Let me go and try to find an Astral Elf. I'm pretty sure someone has an Astral Elf. Come on. Alright. So Star Walker, the current one, Resist Blind. This character has innate resistance against status ailments that affect accuracy. Doesn't apply to status effects from allies, which means if an ally gives you blind, well, the blind's happening. But if you look at it from this way, so innate resistance against status ailments that affect accuracy, what's going to happen is that this character, with the new changes, this character has innate resistance against status ailments that affect poison instead. So any ability that gives them poison will not function as stated. So what I mean, so if you use Resist Blind here, and you look at a hero like Christine Day, for example. So Christine Day's Ballad of Passion gives negative 40% accuracy. This dance will not apply because it's part of a status ailment that affects accuracy. So I thought that, and just to show with the goblins as well, you get this negative 25% accuracy as well. I always thought that the astral elves were really strong with the blind resist, but now with the poison resist, I think they're just targeting Xie Zijing. The fact that Xie Zijing gives uncleansable poison damage over a few turns. But yeah, so that's the changes, and I think with the current meta, I mean, not counting the top three warring alliances in the game, I think the rest of us are still in that position where Xie Zijing, Chang Yi, Tan Sanzang, Sha Wujing are still one of the more dominant war defenses that that is terrorizing the current war formats. The poison damage being uncleansable means you need heroes like Oni Wakamaru to kind of prevent the poison from spreading to your nearby allies. You need heroes like Aramis, who gives undispellable ailment blocks. There are not that many ways to kind of stop Xie Zijing, and I think the reason why they're using this on the Astral Elves is to give you another avenue for you to explore when going against Xie Zijing. However, from what I gather with my limited information, it seems like the top three alliances are moving away from the journey hero defenses. They're actually applying more of a different type of defense, which is much faster. I'm not sure if I should spoil it now, but you will see. I mean, if you are part of the top three alliances, you will know what I'm talking about. If you're not, then, well, I guess you'll face them and you'll see what happens. But yeah, so the Astral Elf special skills, the passive skill right now affects all. It just changes it from resist blind to resist poison, and this affects all Astral Elves. However, the offensive Astral Elf special skills now always hit their targets. So what it means by that is they will have an additional line that says, this attack never misses its target. Now, it's not the same as blind resist, because in this case, what I hope it means is that even if you get a blind effect on you, the special skill will still connect. However, your slash attacks might still miss. So that's the difference between blind resist and having this special skill now always hit their targets. And this is basically just to say that, oh, you know what, Sha Wujing has been around for too damn long. It's time we try to rotate him out. And the problem is that Sha Wujing is also going to rotate out with the Journey Heroes defenses no longer being prevalent in the top three Warring Alliance defenses. But it's not the same for the rest of the other alliances. I think the rest of the other alliances are still banking on the fact that you have Sha Wujing as one of the strongest snipers / support utility heroes that you can have in your defense, as well as being usable, in offense as well. So the affected heroes are in legendary stats: Dreadstar, Starwalker, Sparklight, and Lemonwood. And in epic, Lion String, and rare, Star Swift. So there are also other buffs that are happening to the Astral Elves as well. Lemonwood, the direct damage increased to 380% instead of 350%. This is a much needed buff. I think Lemonwood, now a lot of people think that Lemonwood is really, really strong, but you imagine if you're a good player, you will know how to control the mana that you have, in a sense that you don't allow Lemonwood to chain as much as he can. I remember there's a video going around with how Lemonwood just hit into a toon until that toon dies, just because the toon resists mana cut. But with this 380%, it is a slight buff to him, but considering how his stats are, I think that is a good buff. He will be used more as a hero that can actually deal enough damage to kind of take out certain defenses, or even putting him on defense to take out certain offense teams as well. I like the buff on Lemonwood, but I do question the need for it right now, especially when there are other heroes of older generations that require certain buffs. Dreadstar mana generation debuff increased from 30% to 35%, and healing reduction increased from negative 74% to negative 85%. I think Dreadstar has been a little underwhelming on defenses, just because she's average speed instead of fast speed. But her damage is nothing to be scoffed at. I mean, if you compare her damage to some of the other heroes as well, I think her hitting all and applying this status ailments is actually quite debilitating, especially when you look at legendary troops. Having a negative 35% mana generation debuff, it actually hurts a lot, especially when you are already, at the edge of your mana breakpoints. You're trying really hard to just hit your mana breakpoints. Having Dreadstar do that mana generation debuff to all can be really painful, and then the healing reduction as well. With legendary troops, I think a lot of the times you're talking about trying to sustain through by having a lot of healing. Her healing reduction will definitely stop that. That being said, these are not uncleansable status ailments, so make sure you do have a cleanser with you, and I think you should be fine. Okay, now for the more interesting part. Challenge Festival 1. Costume bonus increase for legendary heroes of Pirate, Grim Forest, Avalon Guardian, and Wonderland families. Now the old one gives plus 17% attack, plus 17% defense, plus 30% health, and plus 5% mana. Now the new ones will have plus 20% attack, plus 20% defense, plus 35% health, and plus 5% mana. I liked it. But again, I'm still questioning the need to have this, but I guess Challenge Festival 1 heroes are getting a bit old right now, so you don't really see a lot of them being used. The problem with this, I feel like they should increase some of the stats of the ones that don't have costumes, like for example Anne. And I'm not saying that just because I'm biased, just because I picked Anne from Soul Exchange, but I do believe Anne has been a little outdated now with all the new heroes coming out, that she should get a little bit of a buff increase as well. But that being said, you're talking about heroes like Costume Guardian Panther, Costume Black Knight, Costume Finley, Costume White Rabbit, for example. These, definitely needed a stat boost, and it'll be cool to see whether these new additional stats will help them, come back into the fold and see whether they can actually work well in the current state of offense teams. Now, costumes now unlock a passive skill for legendary Wonderland heroes, minus attack on special skill. On special skill cast, 50% chance to inflict minus attack on a random enemy for 3 turns. Now, this is really awesome. So the full list of affected heroes are only 3, sadly. Jabberwock, Queen of Hearts, and White Rabbit. Now, do note you really need the costumes in order to unlock this passive skill. So that means you will need the costume Jabberwock, costume Queen of Hearts, and costume White Rabbit. Costume White Rabbit was available in the costume White Rabbit and costume Jabberwock were available in the previous Soul Exchange, and then costume Queen of Hearts was featured in the latest Challenge Festival 1. And there's going to be a new Challenge Festival 1 hero, which is I don't remember the name, but it's a purple one that hits 3 and gives minus attacks, somewhat like Medea from the Depths of Atlantis, the Untold Tales heroes. So with that, the costume Jabberwock now might be applicable. I don't know if you look at it. Oops, wrong one. Let's look at costume Jabberwock right now, which I do have. Where is he? Where are you, costume Jabberwock? Right. So now, costume Jabberwock with the costume bonus increase will increase in terms of attack, defense, and health. And then he will also get additional passive skill that whenever he casts his special skill, which is dealing 300% damage to the enemies on the edge, and they get corrosive poison, you'll also get a 50% chance to inflict mindless attack on one target. Now this will be good if the meta continues on the trend of using Nautica as opposed to using Hathor. Because if you use Hathor and Hathor fires first, then the mindless attack really does nothing. Even Jabberwock himself doesn't really do much. But if you're going against Nautica, then maybe, that 50% chance to include a minus attack will be really, really good. Now, I don't have Queen of Hearts. I don't have the costume for Queen of Hearts. I do have Queen of Hearts, but I'm just not using her at the moment. She's just here It was one of the first few heroes that I've gotten in the game. But yeah, costume now, if you cast the taunt, you do get a 50% chance to inflict an offensive status ailment on the opposing side, which is really good. The same thing with costume White Rabbit as well. So really, really fun, and yeah, would like to see if that changes things and whether or not you can get some of these heroes to eventually come back into the fold and be in the meta. Now there are some changes to some heroes as well. Red Hood, direct damage increase, not that much of an increase. The Fox Minion inherited HP increase from 20 to 25%, and the heal increase from 7 to 10%. Still don't think Red Hood is pretty good. I mean, if she was fast speed, that'll be good to counter Luna, but she's average speed, so not really usable. Guardian Owl, direct damage increase, the base damage from 280 to 300%, increase per defeated ally 60% from 50%, so the maximum damage is now 540% if he's the only one alive, and heal over time increased to 915 HP over 5 turns. Again, Guardian Owl, it's a pretty obsolete hero right now. I don't think many people use it, and if you plan to use Guardian Owl on offense, and you're hoping for your heroes to die the same way that you're hoping Kalo functions just because you want your heroes to die, then you obviously are doing something wrong with your offense teams. It'll be better to get them to stay alive rather than to die. And because there is no stat increase, Guardian Owl isn't particularly useful in defense as well, even in Rush Wars as well. So I don't know what. I think they need to drastically change his abilities or improve his stats in order for Guardian Owl to be viable. So now the next one, Clash of Knights. With the Alliance quest coming in the next couple of days, here are some stats increase to entice you to kind of pull for them. So Daemon has his attack, defense, and health increased by a little bit. Lysanor has an additional passive skill where mana on buff received gain 5% mana when receiving a buff or a positive stack. That's insane. It's something similar to the Journey hero, so you can kind of use Lysanor in regular wars as well. Winnie, the yellow, I think the yellow super tank. I think mana on buff received gain 5% mana when receiving a buff or a positive stack. So you can see these are applicable for slow heroes in the Clash of Knights hero pool, and the stats are also increased as well, and the health boost increased to 1200 HP instead of 900. Wow, I've never seen much Winnie actually used. I remember encountering a few in Rush Wars, but that's about it. I think she's pretty decent still, but I think the amount of slow yellow heroes that are coming out, like for example Gongnu came out, and then there's Toon Viveka, really just doesn't seem like a requirement. And there's going to be a new yellow super elemental hero that is a much more stronger version of Winnie, and I think everybody will be going for that rather than use Winnie here, so not much. Alright, Secrets of the Opera, Daroga, heal from passive skill decreased from 20% to 5%. Yeah, this was something that was noted for some people. He was wondering why a fast speed hero would have such a strong heal from passive skill. And then the direct damage increased from 485 to 535%. So he is now, I think you would still use him for Titans because of his stack. And then you can also use him for offense as well. He's a decent sniper right now. So yeah, I think Daroga still pretty fine. Still not sure why they needed to increase the direct damage, because you would want the poison to spread or the sand damage to spread. He has an ailment that spreads, so I'd rather the ailment spread rather than just killing off the target. So finally, the last one, April Heroes of the Month. So these are dating back all the way to 2018, I do believe. So Aaron, heal over time increased from 765 to 1015 HP over 5 turns. Aaron, the costume, direct heal increased from 43 to 45%, so it's just a heal increase. Melosi, direct damage increased from 300 to 350%. Melosi right now is a clutch pick to use in Equalizer, especially when you're dealing with heroes like Tremor or heroes like Starwalker. Not so much on Pepper Flame because Pepper Flame is a monk, which can resist his ailment, but it would be good to use Melosi right now, and he, even with the dated stats, I think he still can function in certain teams. Frost with a lisp. Frost Sprite minion, the inherited HP is increased to 15%, inherited attack increased to 20%, attack and health buff for minions increased from 30 to 40%. Still not really usable. I think Frost has been pretty much outdated right now. You're not looking for, the days of Master Pangi being part of the attack teams has more or less, gone out of phase. So Frost isn't really useful right now, but I can see this being used for maybe PvE kind of farming, or I don't know, anything else that affects minions. Not yet. I think the minion age has pretty much gone out. But it will be fun to see him being used together with War of the Three Kingdom heroes. Like for example, if you use this with Cao Cao and Liu Bei and Sun Quan, for example, who knows? Maybe that is a combination worth looking at, especially with the legendary troops and how the minion HP will go quite high as well. Sylvaria direct damage increase to 380% instead of 350%. Sylvaria is one of those that does the defense down first and then hits, which is pretty interesting. Passive skill, summon on burn, so the garden minion that is summoned whenever she takes burn damage has inherited HP increase and inherited attack increase. Not so much as well. I think Sylvaria is still one of those hero of the months that you rather have it in the bench rather than leveling up. It's not really that functional. And finally, Tobruk direct damage increase from 400% to 450%, which would make Mythic Titan damages increased by a little bit. Although right now with Gasteel coming out, I think the Mythic Titan teams that will form with purple, they will probably use Gasteel over Tobruk. But still, you can use Tobruk in, like, say, your third or fourth team that you're trying to use for Mythic Titan. Who knows if you have. I would fully expect Mythic Titan specialists like the 11 Forever, Crystal Dynamics, or certain players will have a much more users in Gasteel than Tobruk as opposed to others. Alright, so these are the full list of changes per heroes. This one I don't think I'll need to go over them all over again, but you can see now, like for example the Astral Elves, direct damage increase, the hero special skill now always hits its target. That's what I've been talking about. And that's about it. Do let me know what you think about some of these changes, if you like them, if you do not like them, and what do you think they should change. One thing I've realized that they did not change, and they still have not buffed, is the Season 2 heroes, the Atlantis heroes, Costume Ariel, Inari, who else? They're so forgotten right now that I don't even remember all of the heroes. But they deserve some buffs. So come on, SG, give some love to the Season 2 heroes, or if you're planning to introduce second costumes for them, well, do let us know early so that we can plan for that. But other than that, I think this is all the April changes. So far, I think most of them are pretty positive. And we'll see what the balance changes in May might show up. Maybe there'll be new changes as well. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. GG.